Gurubhyo Namaha. So welcome to all of our sisters and brothers. Once again we are here, very glad to be with you. Very happy that we could continue this. This is the third week that we are assembled. So today we are going to study about a very important aspect of the science of Ayurveda, and this is what is called Swastha Vrutta. That means, Swastha means in Sanskrit the one who is in his original normal state. That means who is in the real healthy state of existence. That person is called Swastha. And Vrutta. Vrutta means the procedure. And the procedure which is followed by such a person in his daily life. So our daily life is constituted by a routine. So this chapter of the science of Ayurveda has given importance to how to follow or how to keep up the right procedure, the scientific procedure in our daily life to keep ourselves always healthy without falling into disease. So it is a very big chapter you find in almost all the ancient texts of Ayurvedic science. Today we are going to make a study in a brief and concise manner as an introduction how it is prescribed and how it is followed by those people. In general, most of the people in those ancient days, they used to follow this procedure which came the regular way of their life. This is not just specially prescribed when some person is sick, but almost all the persons. It was their way of life. The Ayurvedic living is the way of life for those persons. Therefore, most of them, they could always keep themselves in a ideal and healthy conditions without falling sick. So let us now find out how is this daily routine followed and planned. Ayurveda gives always importance to keep our fitness and to prevent ourselves to fall sick. That means how we can keep our immunity stronger and protect ourselves, and how to avoid falling sick. That is the way of approach in the Ayurvedic science. So, we know that our daily routine starts right from the time of our waking up from the sleep. Because as long as we are in sleep state, there is nothing that we can do something. So, after we got to complete consciousness, normal consciousness, from sleep state into awakened state, then it starts. But how it should start, that is having an importance. So when is the ideal time that we should wake up from sleep? Of course, we are in different parts of this globe with different climates and different environments. But even then, the rhythm that our earth maintains in connection with the other planetary bodies of this universe, that rhythm is always there, which we have to keep watching. And this rhythm can be observed by observing the nature around us, how the plants are there, they are responding, how the animals and birds are responding, so all these things. So the only thing is we have to keep our attention towards the nature and its workings. Then we can know this rhythm. So therefore, sunrise is one of the important points of our everyday life. So sunrise, of course, varies with the seasons and with the locations on this earth. That's no matter. But we have to, as I told you, we have to note the timing and the rhythm of this movement of our earth with our time of sunrise, time of sunset, all these things. So from the time of our awakening from the sleep till that time that we get into sleep at night, not during daytime of course. So this is the time which we have to plan in a scientific manner. So there is a time called Brahmi Muhurta in Ayurveda. Brahmi Muhurta means that is the time when the creative intelligence is very active in us. That is in tune with the forces of nature. So that is, for example, when you consider the tropical places, then you can say that it is about 1 hour before sunrise. As I told you, you have to compare, you have to take up the place where you are. So what we have to do, immediately we open our eyes and come into normal state of awakening. We should plan that. We should not be forced to jump out of bed to get into a busy routine of our daily life. Generally, in the busy society, in the cities and all this, many people are not having any idea to how to plan this. Therefore, most of them anxiously they jump out of the bed that they have to run for their work. So this should not be there. So after waking up, after opening your eyes, for a few minutes, First of all, you must know the location where you are and observe your mind, whether it is in good condition, tranquil condition, and try to bring it to balance. And then, what are our assets and liabilities? That means not in the sense that of the wealth and all these things. Assets and liabilities means what all the things we have to attend and how many of them we have completed, how many still we have to complete. So a few minutes we have to think of them, and then a few minutes we have to observe our body condition, physical condition, whether it is in fit condition, have any difficulty. But means if we are specially reminded of any part of our body, that means there is some blockage. For example, when we are engaged in some work, suddenly our attention is drawn towards our joints of our legs, that means there is a blockage. Or if our attention is drawn towards our head, that means there is some pain or headache. So we have to just observe our health. And after observing its physical health, you have to observe our psychological condition also, as I told you. And if there is any affliction, we have to locate it and try to eliminate before we start our daily routine. And to bring a balance on our psychological blockages, the most important is it will be easy for us if you take up a few lines from any scripture, any world scripture, just read a few lines, have a little contemplation on that, on the meaning of those lines. Then we can find ourselves in a good mood of our mind. Then we have to get down from our bed and start with our physical body has certain needs to bring the physical body keep the physical body into fitness. So it is recommended that we have to apply some good oil, sesame oil or olive oil to the body, all parts of the body, including our head, ears, palms and soles. So make a little massage by yourself and make a moderately physical exercise by following some suitable asanas for the constitution. See, yoga asanas, you have to select few asanas which suit your constitution. That is also important. Then we have to start the cleaning procedure. So cleaning should start with cleaning the teeth and mouth, because that is the important passage into the body. So if your mouth or teeth or gums are not healthy, then always there will be a disturbance, because whatever we drink and eat should pass through that passage. So cleaning the teeth, immediately we start, what we do, we take some chemical substance, chemical stuff, like some dental cream or something else, but that is not recommended. We have to use most natural products. So if it is possible, we can take a stick of a tree fresh. You can select the tree from your environment. For example, in Occident you can have oak tree or fig tree, like that. So you have to select the tree and then take a stick, and you can eliminate any sort of nodes or hard surfaces, and then chew it like a brush, and then you can clean the teeth. And then you have to clean your tongue also. So you can use this stick, pieces of this stick to clean the tongue, or you can also use certain metallic tongue cleaners also, like which is made up of copper, silver or gold, whichever is possible. Then you have to start cleaning your body. Just before sunrise you have to complete all this procedure. So you have to clean your body. We know that you have to clean with water, with, if it is possible, we have live water. If it is possible, if we are there, like when we go into the mountains, under the waterfalls, or in a lake, or in a river, wherever it is possible, of course. If it is not possible, you procure the best water and clean the skin, not with any chemical substance. We have to remember that we have to avoid all chemical stuff from our daily life. As far as possible, avoid all chemicals and all artificial things from our daily life. Then we can have really a very good health. So for cleaning the body, better you use powders of some herbs, if you can make yourselves. Or if it is not possible, if you need to have a soap, then you can select a soap which is made up of most natural substances but not chemical substances. So you can use that. So you can use the substance, clean up all your body. You have to, every day you have to clean your body unfailingly with water. You have to use much water to clean up. That is most important, because water has a great power. Water, we are not mindful of these things. We do not observe these things. But when you are very much, for example, very much tired, if you have a glass of water to drink, then you feel refreshed. Similarly, when you are very much tired from your stress of journey or stress of work, if you have a shower, then you feel very energetic. So this is our regular experience. So water plays most important role, because water can clean our body not only from outside but inside also. It is water which can clean all our tissues, all parts of our body, and that we know already. And another thing is, after having the shower, invariably we have to have washed clothes. You should not use the same clothes which you were wearing while you were sleeping. Why? That is because there is a reason for that. Because in this procedure, in our daily routine in Swasthavritta, we have various steps, some belonging to the physical body, some belonging to our vital body, and some belonging to our mind or mental body, some procedures. So a balance or a coordination between these three bodies, that enables us to keep our life, our condition of health in an ideal condition. So the clothes we have to change every day after the shower. Every day we should have a fresh clothes, but means washed and dried, and we have to wear that fresh clothes. And then after this, sit down calmly in a comfortable posture and think of our brow center, our attention drawn towards our brow center. So we have to meditate upon the brow center. That is why there is a procedure given which is followed by most of the ancients to have any type of mark on the brow, because while you are making a mark, your attention is automatically drawn towards the brow center. That is the reason. Then you keep meditating for a few minutes and try to keep the same time every day for your meditation. And through this meditation, you are fulfilling the duties towards the Deva kingdom. That means you are drawing your attention towards the Devas who are working for your existence. You know, our existence is because of the working of so many intelligences in nature. So these intelligences are called Devas. So it is important for us every day to remember them and draw our attention towards them, how they are working, and offer our veneration and prayer towards those intelligences, because that is the only thing that we have to, we can express our gratitude for them, because they are working without any interruption. You see, just for example, every moment there is inhalation and exhalation which is going on continuously. You know who is responsible for this phenomenon in us? Are we responsible for our inhalation and exhalation? Nobody can bluff that he is responsible for his own inhalation and exhalation, because most of the time we do not even remember that we are inhaling and exhaling. So therefore, it is all the work of the Devas, these intelligences who are working in us. So it is our duty to remember them and offer our gratitude towards them. That is what is called our prayer and meditation. And another thing in our physical aspect is that we have to keep ourselves very clean in our body, because there are certain things which grow, which accumulate automatically in our body. What are the things that grow? Like our hair, our mustache, our beard, our nails. These things, they grow automatically. We need not make any special effort. Most of the people spend hours and hours before the mirror towards their hair and mustache and all these things which grow automatically. We have to keep them clean. So, it is healthy to keep all of them cut and keep them clean, not to allow them grow beyond requirement. So we have to be careful. Suppose if we grow our nails into, some people grow their nails which are very long, then what happens? They may hurt themselves, or they may hurt others, or while they are taking food, all the toxic substances which accumulate in the nails may go inside. So there are many problems. So you should not grow them beyond certain level. That is important. That is the physical aspect. So we are some, as I told you, we are some physical aspects. There are some aspects on the vital level, some on the mental level. We have to classify them why we are observing these steps. Then, when we go out of our house, then we have to, as far as possible, cover our head and also protect our feet with shoes. While you are inside the house, there is no problem, because most of the people try to keep their house clean. But when you are stepping out of the house, you have to protect your feet with the shoes so that your feet will not become dirty. When you are going to a holy place which is kept always clean, there is no problem. But when you are going out into a road or somewhere else, you have to protect your feet from getting injured. That is important. And also, most of the people, even now in the villages, when they go out, they will have a stick in the hand. It is not for fashion. Stick is a support for us. And then the another aspect is, when you go out, generally you meet people. Here now, how we have to behave when we come across the other people. So we have to first greet any person we meet. Greet and smile and express your good wishes. When you meet somebody, some elderly people or scholars, some old people, elderly people, then you can venerate, you can express your salutation and veneration towards them. Why should we do that? Some people feel, why is there any obligation? Are you obliged to do that? You are not obliged, but if you do that, then this makes your thought forms in a positive direction. That is important. So this is not just a physical aspect, but it is connected to your mental balance also, to improve your health, learning, and moral strength, all these things. And when you meet any other person, always you must smile before the other person, and you must greet before the other person greets you or smiles to you. You should not wait that the other person should greet and smile. So that is not a proper procedure. Then, about drinking and eating, there is also a very important thing which we have to always remember. When we are drinking means, first of all, good water, and then a very healthy substances like milk or juices. About these things. The other things which you drink, which will disturb your astral plane and mental plane. So it is not about those things. So it is here drinking, when we speak of health, drinking means really natural and healthy drinks. First one, foremost is water, always. You cannot have more important, more healthier thing than water. Therefore, you have to keep water always natural. You have to select water from natural sources. It is unfortunate if you have to drink water from preserved bottles or preserved containers. It is unfortunate. But we are unfortunate in the modern society that we don't have direct source to have water fresh from the direct source, of course. But anyway, water. And then juices of the fruits fresh. That is also not the preserved or tinned juices, because unfortunately most people, they drink fruit substances but which are preserved in the tins or in the bottles for a long time. That is not recommendable. And while eating, while drinking and when eating, your mind should be in a good condition. If your mind is not in a good condition, if it is ill disposed, then we have to avoid eating and drinking at that time. If your mind is disturbed, if your mind is agitated, if you have anger in your mind towards someone, if you feel jealous of someone, if you have negative thoughts about someone, if you have unhealthy thoughts in your mind, then this will have its impact on your drink, on your food which you are eating. So it is important for you to keep in positive mood while you are drinking and eating. So positive mood makes food charged with strength and brilliance. When you eat or drink with positive mood, then you have strength. That is important. Your food will be energized, the drink will be energized. If you eat in a bad mood, then your food or drink produces vibrations of sickness. That is very important. And also, there is another aspect of hygiene while drinking and eating. We don't know, most of us in the modern society, and we don't follow this also. But it is a very scientific aspect. What is that? As far as possible, we have to avoid drinking and eating at a place where many people gather, not like in a holy congregation or in a spiritual congregation. That is different. Suppose you are going into a restaurant, there are many people in the restaurant. So there if you sit, keep eating and drinking, you cannot have a healthy environment, even though everything appears to be clean. That's okay, physically they are kept clean, but still all the people sitting are there are not united. Everybody is in a different mood, in different thinking. Somebody is speaking, somebody is drinking some unrequired things, substances. And so all this will have an impact on our constitution. Therefore, it is important that we should avoid as far as possible to drink and eat in certain circumstances like this. And also another thing, what happens during such gatherings is, people, they eat and drink and their saliva from their mouth is mixed up, and then suppose I eat something in a plate and keep the plate there, or I drink something, and from the same thing another person is also served with this food and drink. And if he also started to eat, so when around many people are sitting and same substance, every people with a fork or with a something they have spoon, or they keep taking and eating and keeping this again back. So automatically the saliva of one person is carried into the food which is taken by the another person. So this is not hygienic at all. So we have to avoid such procedures to keep hygiene, because this brings a disturbance in our health which is felt later. Immediately we don't feel anything, but its impact will be established and felt at a later time. So this is very important. And you should not eat when you are in a hurry. This is also important. You see some people, they keep eating and they are running. So they may be running to catch a train, or they may be running in a hurry for some work, and keep something in the hand, keep eating and running. That is not at all good for health. If you are hungry, you sit for a few minutes at a place and then take your food or drink. But never try to drink or eat while you are in a running mood. That is not at all recommended, because that disturbs your health definitely. Also, one should not eat or drink just for obligation or what is called social etiquette. That is also not good for health. Why? When you feel hungry, that means it is an indication from inside that you have to take food. When you feel thirsty, that means it is an indication from inside that you have to take drink. Without an indication from inside, if you eat or drink simply for the taste or simply to please the other person, your friend or your companion, whatever it may be. But what happens if you eat or drink when it is not required? It creates a disturbance in the constitution, because it is not accepted readily by your constitution. So what is the use of it? So it disturbs the rhythm of your body. So we have to be careful in such things. We should not eat or drink unrequired things, and we should not eat or drink at the unrequired time also. This is very important. So we have to keep in mind about this, which is the right time, which is the wrong time for us. When your mind is very disturbed, when you are having any sorrow in your mind, at that time also it is not good for you to drink or eat. Of course, if you are very thirsty, you can have some water, but really to eat at that time, because when your mind is very disturbed, then automatically the flow of energy is disturbed in your constitution. At that time, if you eat or drink something, it is not received, it is not assimilated into the constitution. That is the truth. So therefore, we have to avoid such things. Then another thing is, when you are going somewhere, if you see a holy place, maybe it is a temple or a church. It is not about a religion, a holy place, a spiritual and holy place. Even if it is a house of a holy person, even that also, that is not in any way connected with any religion. Then what you have to do? Just stop a few seconds and just venerate that place and offer your veneration, and then you can move. This is also very important. It will add to our good health. That is important. And then another most important thing where we fail, where we are not attentive, and why wherever there is a possibility of disturbing our health is the aspect of suppression. So this suppression can be on the physical level, on the vital level, and also on the mental level. So on any level, the suppression leads to a great disturbance in our health. So on the physical level, if the urination is suppressed, suppose you are in a meeting or you are in important work, then there is urge for urination. And if you keep this point for a long time, keep your urine suppressed. Or also the same thing with suppression of the urge for stool, passing stool, and suppression of the urge to pass flatus. And sometimes when you get a vomiting sensation, also to suppress, trying to push it back. Or when you get sneezing suddenly, so when you forcefully suppress it, not to sneeze. When you get eructation, belching, and if you suppress it, not to express it out, not to let it out. Or sometimes you feel sleepy and tired, and then you get yawning like this. And then also if you suppress this, and another thing is when you feel hungry and for a long time, because you feel some other thing is very important, some work or something, and suppose you have postponed, you are hungry first, still you have postponed to eat. And similarly with thirst also. If you feel thirsty and you have postponed it, you have not taken any drink for a long time. And also with the tears. For example, you have tears in your eyes, whether due to sorrow or whether due to suddenly you felt emotional happiness, happy also, then also. And also suppression of sleep. When you are very tired and feel body is indicating to you that you have to sleep for some time, then forcefully you have postponed your sleep for more important work. And also suppression of cough. You are getting cough. And for in the society, where many people, if you cough, it may disturb them, suppressing. And sometimes your breathing is faster, and then you try to control it. Then what happens? All these things, we give importance to the social efficacy in all these aspects, suppressions. But how we have to behave then? Are we are expected to do all these things even though we are in a company of people? No, you should not commit them in the company of people, but we can just slip away from there. Suppose there is urge for urination. You can say, excuse me, and for a few minutes you go and finish it and come back. There is no wrong in it, nothing wrong in it. So, if you are getting sneezing with their group of people, you need not sneeze on their face. Just you slip away a few minutes and get out and sneeze and come back. So like this you can adjust yourself, and you need not suppress them. At the same time you need not disturb other person also by doing all these things. What are the consequences of these suppressions? Suppose the urine is suppressed many times, frequently, then it causes discomfort and pain in the bladder. And if we do it very frequently, it leads to paralyzation of the muscles of kidneys and urinary organs. They will be damaged. So we should not do that. Very dangerous. And suppression of flatus. We have air in the intestines. Whether it should be released from upside through the mouth or from the anus in any manner. Suppose you have blocked it, you have suppressed it, then what happens is, many times if you do that, it will block your urination or passing the stool. You will have difficulty in passing the stool or difficulty in urinating. And it will also cause distension of abdomen and exhaustion. So very dangerous to suppress these things. And suppression of vomitings. When you get vomiting sensation, nausea, and if you keep it suppressed for a long time, then it causes urticarial rash on the skin with itching and pigmentation on the face, or edema, or anemic condition, develop anemic condition, or sometimes fever. All these disturbances will be caused by suppression of vomitings. Suppression of sneezing. So some people get sneezing and they hold the nose and put the mouth tight, closed, like this. So that is very dangerous. When you do it frequently, it causes headaches and hemicrania, one-sided headache. It becomes chronic. Or paralyzation of the face muscles of the face, and weakness of the sense organs. So should not suppress this also. And when you get eructation, belching, when you suppress this, it may cause then hiccough. If you suppress eructation by force, then you will get hiccough like that. Because of the gastroenteric nerve starts giving spasm. That is why you get hiccough. And also it will disturb the functioning of your lungs and heart. So very important not to suppress that. Suppression of yawning. When you frequently get yawning, then what you have to do, either you lie down for some time, sleep, or find out what is the problem, solve it. But if you keep working suppressing these things, then it may cause convulsion and contractions and numbness, loss of sensation in any part of the body, trembling, tremors in the body. So such things will happen if you suppress that. Suppression of hunger, when you are hungry and suppressing and keeping it postponed to eat for a long time, it causes emaciation in the body and chronic weakness, change of complexion of your body, and also it will create vertigo, and you feel very giddiness. You will feel your head is feeling heavy and some giddiness, and it leads to fainting, and it leads to cardiac weakness of the functioning of the heart also. If you keep suppressing your hunger for a long time, it's not good to suppress like that hunger. So you should not postpone for a long time. If you feel hungry, you have to at least take some liquid food or something. If immediately you have important work, you take some liquid food, some milk or a glass of buttermilk, some liquid food or a fruit or something. But you should not keep the hunger continuing for a long time. Similarly, suppression of thirst. When you keep suppressing the thirst for a long time, it causes dryness of throat and mouth. And in a longer time, it may cause deafness, hearing defect also. And it may cause weakness of heart and pain in the heart after some time. And if the tears are suppressed, suppose you have some sorrowful mood, if you feel like weeping, so when you are in the presence of some other person, you don't want to show this, so you suppress your tears. If you do this many times, it leads to eye problems, eye disease, and also heart complaint, heart problem. Both these things. Similarly, suppression of sleep causes drowsiness and problem in the eyes also. Frequently, if you keep postponing your sleep, keep awake late at night, even without any important work also, habituated to keep at night, observing your mobile and all these things, that is what, your tab or your mobile, and postponing the sleep, then what happens? You will get drowsiness. The whole day you feel drowsy and not fresh, and also eye problems will happen, will appear. And then suppression of quick breath. Suppose you are running for something, like, and your breath, or when you are, you know, whenever there is some disturbance in the mind also, your breathing is disturbed, rhythm of the breathing. When you are angry on somebody, when you are very angry, then also you are very excited and your breathing rhythms, it changes. Or if you are in a hurry, then also your breathing rhythm changes. So if your breath is suppressed, it leads to exertion and fainting and heart disease. So very important, you have to know. And then another thing is suppression of sexual urge. This is also very important. Actually, what we have to do is, we have to overcome because at the unrequired time, and if you feel the sexual, if you get the sexual thoughts and getting aggravated, generally your sexual thoughts get intense and aggravated by your habits. So you have to train yourselves that you will not get into such situation. Once you got this sexual urge very intensely in the mind, if you don't know how to make it sublimated, evaporated, and then you try to suppress it, then what happens is you'll get pain in the genital organs. You'll get pain in the testicles, pain in the female organs, and also you get pain in the heart. And your heart rhythm, cardiac rhythm is also disturbed. So therefore, all these urges, these are all called various urge, it is called. They are not to be suppressed. We have to pre-arrange them. That's why we have to keep an observation and arrange them according to the fitness of the place and time. Suppose you are in an office work you have to do in the office. At that time, if you are reminded of what you have to eat at home, then it means there is something wrong. The same fellow, when he is at home, when he is served with a good food at the table, then he starts thinking of the work at his office. There is something wrong, there is a misplacement in his mind. This shows that there is a disturbance at the mental level, which gradually leads to a disturbance on the vital level and establishes a disturbance on the physical level, invariably. So therefore, we have to keep observing our mind. In the beginning, for a new person, it appears very difficult because they keep observing other things with the mind. Then how to observe your mind? This is, many people, they are not trained for this. Before in the beginning, it appears difficult. This is because you get identified with your mind. That is the problem. Of course, this is a subject belonging to the science of yoga, but anyway, that is not different from the health science. The science of yoga, science of health, they are all allied sciences. They are not different from each other. Therefore, we have to apply all of them to have a good health. So these are some important things as introduction about this scientific routine, about Swasthavritta. As I told you, this is a very big chapter in the textbooks of the science of Ayurveda, in every textbook. So to study them with all details, it takes some days continuously. Today what we did is just an introduction into this subject we made. And when you get more familiar with the Swasthavritta, not only by knowing just, but by applying them in our daily life, then you will find that automatically your immune system gets stronger and you are no more susceptible to many sorts of external influences. So that is why we have taken up this subject for today. So in future also, let us try to study them. Most of you who are studying with me in Belgium, in France, in Germany, in Switzerland, and also in Russia and Ukraine. All our friends, most of them you are already, I hope, we have studied them several times, this Swasthavrutta, during my trips. So most of you, you are conversant, you know them. But from time to time, we have to refresh them in our mind so that we can make use of them in our daily life to keep ourselves healthy and not falling sick. That is important. So thank you all once again. So we will meet again on the next Saturday. Vasudeva.